lady you see in the background with the glasses on, that's Rachel Moore. She's our welding instructor. And much like Josh Holdred, our second-year auto instructor, and Levi Schlegg, our first-year auto instructor, she's also a veteran of SCILL. She was in our very first adult class 8 years ago. Was hired at Braun before she'd even graduated. Went from there to the ironworkers down in Indy, and she was doing great, but it didn't work out for her family. So she called Braun and they went, yeah, we'll take you back immediately. And then when Andy Odell, who was the very first welding instructor and is kind of the godfather of our welding program, decided to retire, I called Rachel and stole her away from Braun. And it's interesting because whenever I get a call from Braun about welders, they'll always say, send me another Rachel. So that's a great tribute to her. At the beginning, you saw 3 kind of unusual little contraptions. Those are all bike racks that we are making in partnership with the Prairie Trails group. And those will be, we've already got one placed. And as you can see, we've got number 2, number 3, and number 4 in the works. And each one is more and more creative. And all of these are the designs of the students themselves. That last one, they took a piece of pipe and made it look like a tree trunk. They're going to have little owls sitting on top of it and branches coming down for braces. Each different bike rack has a different theme. We're really proud of our welding program. It's packed to capacity, not only in room, which you can see we've kind of outgrown, but also we have 40 kids in here, 20 in the morning and 20 in the afternoon every year, and always have to turn down a few, which I hate to do. But our placement is such that we've got 3 of our students right now that are working part-time in the welding industry, that they're going in after school, staying until maybe 8 o'clock at night, partway through on a night shift. We won't let them work a full night shift because, you know, if they're working till 11 o'clock at night and then trying to come back and go to school the next day, that's not real conducive to getting grades for them to be able to graduate. So we kind of try and keep everything in mind, but that's a heck of a part-time job, you know, versus working at a fast food restaurant for $7.25 an hour versus there at a welding industry at $11 or $12 an hour, learning their craft. And usually what happens is when they graduate, they just step right into those jobs full time. It hasn't started yet, but usually I will start getting calls about the 1st April. Well, could they miss class in the afternoon so they could just stay here, you know, maybe come in at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock or something. And we will sometimes, depending upon the student, you know, if they're current on their grades in their home school, if they're current on their classroom work here, if they're current on their work out in the shop, we will sometimes do that a day or 2 a week. You know, it works to their benefit. That's what they came here to learn, was to weld. And these students that are here for 2 years, what they get out with is unbelievable. It's not just laying down a bead, because, you know, you could teach somebody ignorant about welding like me how to lay down a bead, but this is how to be a welder, and that's a specific craft. So they'll learn MIG, TIG, and stick. They'll get into a little taste of pipe welding. We're in a partnership with Zentus over in Plymouth, that when it comes to our adult student, the #1 welder in their maintenance department is somebody that went through pipe welding training all the way to a 5 and 6G, which is a very high level of pipe welding expertise. And they currently have one of our adult student graduates that they have put back here for additional training to get to that level, and a third one that they've just put in the beginners class So we have some industry that has a great deal of faith in our welding program. So we're pretty proud of that. Let's go see what's happening in the robotics program.
Okay.
Yes, this is the vacant part for right now of our Aram classroom. We have pneumatics and hydraulics and mechatronics, which is electrical and mechanical put together. Our students get a chance to learn industrial maintenance from start to finish. We're one of the, if not the only, program in the entire state that is all-inclusive like that. And again, a reminder that we have students from all 9 schools. And this program is rather unique, and we may have students that just want to go into industrial maintenance all the way up to they may be interested in engineering. So it's kind of a pre-engineering opportunity also. And if you can understand all those charts up there, you're a whole lot better person than I am. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a second. Now, it may look like these guys are just sitting doing video games, but they're doing anything but. Sitting at the table, those students are actually in the process of learning how to computerize and set up for a robot what's called PLC, Programmable Logic Control. It's pretty sophisticated stuff. The gentlemen on your right are working with electronic boards, which those you could literally electrify the entire school with one of those. So they go everything from troubleshooting to setup from start to finish. Before we go, we'll get a chance to see Sheldon, which is what I call our actual robot. And the mad professor behind all this is Bill Greger over to your left. Bill came to us from industry, and you know, it's very unusual. First of all, to find somebody that's competent enough in all these fields is unique in itself. But to then find somebody that has the touch to work with kids is a whole different ball game. And with Mr. Greger, we kind of hit the jackpot. He gets an A+ in both of those areas.
How long have the kids been in this program?
This is 4th year, Bill?
Fifth.
5th year? Okay.
What grade can they start?
Juniors and seniors.
Okay.
Although we did have one young gentleman that started as a sophomore.
Yeah, he's not here today. I think they started break at Argus today.
And he will actually be with us for a 3rd year next year. So this is kind of an experiment
Awesome.
on doing a 3rd year.
Oh.
But these guys will have the opportunity to go to work directly. They will have a chance to go to school. They can earn up to 27 dual credits from Ivy Tech. So they can go to Ivy Tech, for example, and have an associate's degree with just 3 more classes.
Wow.
So they're pretty heavily recruited by industry if that's what they choose to do. The military really likes to suck these guys up. And as I said, you know, pre-engineering are the type classes that this is really a good hands-on opportunity for them before they go into that. As you can imagine, there's quite a bit of money wrapped up in all of this equipment. And again, we have to say thank you to the Perkins Foundation and also to the city of Knox. They gave us a grant back when we were first starting. The Community Foundation has been involved with us with different programs over the years. You know, SCILL is kind of to me, one of the true gems of Stark County. It's been something that not only has it been successful for the students, but it's also been a success for Stark County because the number of parents that come for open house and then say, gee, I can't believe you got something like this in Stark County. And I'm like, yeah, we have electricity and paved roads also. You'd absolutely be amazed. So it's been great PR.
Right.
Plus the amount of money it's brought into the community. I mean, gas. My goodness, McDonald's and Taco Bell, we have to put about $2 million a piece from the looks of what our garbage cans look like into those economies. And then over here, we have a fully functioning robot that it can go start to finish from taking up, and I don't know what you call these things, but picking up these little goobers, putting them in different categories, putting a cap on them, poking a hole in them, differentiating between what color they are, so on and so forth, which ones might be defective, and then it gets kicked off to the side, all the way to taken to here, have a cap put on them, and slid in here for distribution.
Wow.
It truly is, I mean, it's pretty amazing, the technology behind this. It looks like an erector set on steroids. But, and then obviously, if you look down here, those are the PLCs that you have to program each and every one of these steps. And that's the beginning of what you saw those gentlemen sitting at the tables doing, is working on their PLC skills in order to be able to program this.
That's awesome.
So by the time they get out, they've definitely got some great hands-on tools. So I can't say thank you enough to the community, to the school partnerships that we're involved in, community partnerships, governmental organizations, industry, the the foundation. So many groups are involved in making this a success, and we get a number of attaboys. And one of the things I tell people are, to me, the whole key to SCILL success are not these machines, it's our instructors. Because every one of our instructors, and we're so blessed with this, they're not only skilled in their particular area, but they also have a passion for working with our kids. Rachel may stay 2 nights a week working with welding students that need some additional help, and she may be there till 7 o'clock at night. Josh and Levi may help a student work weekends or nights on their vehicle, and that's not additional compensation for them. My goodness, when we were at the height of what was going on with this entire pandemic, you can imagine the havoc that it wrecked here, because I can't send one of these home individually with kids to work on them. And yet Bill found a way out in his barn with 1 kid or 2 kids coming at a time, staying distanced, keeping masks on, that they could do a little bit of hands-on work throughout the entire pandemic. That, I mean, the minute that we were allowed back in the school building, Rachel was in here trying to get, our welding students trying to get their certification plates done so they could try to, submit them. Josh and Levi trying to do as much hands-on and as little bookwork as possible throughout the rest of that school year, trying to do catch-up with the kids from first year last year that lost a third of their year. They lost a third of hands-on. Josh has done a lot of that, Levi's done some of it, in trying to get them caught up. I just can't give enough praise to our instructors and our entire staff. I know this sounds cheesy, and I don't care. It's truly a dedication of love. And, they may be goofy to deal with, but for goodness sakes, look who their boss is. We couldn't ask for better instructors or more heart to be put into that. So that's SCILL. We're pretty proud of our programs.